Thank you. Welcome to everyone who has come to this public forum concerning City Ordinance 16690. This is the ordinance commonly known as the restaurant tax. This forum has two purposes here today. One is to educate the public about the discussions related to and about the restaurant tax. And two, to hear public feedback about the proposed changes to this ordinance, which are a potential change to the percentage that's indicated in that ordinance, and to propose a change to the new start date for that, which would be January 1st of 2027. We want this to be a good discussion today. It's meant to be productive and a forum for all voices to be heard. We ask that everyone be respectful of all the discussions which are taking place. After all, we all want what's best for our community. We may just have differing viewpoints or opinions on how we wish to get there. This forum is being recorded and will be placed on our website as quickly as possible after this meeting. I want to introduce some of the people that are in the council chambers, then I'd like for you all to introduce yourselves if you wish. I am Mayor Al Batz. I'm moderating the forum today, and I have invited some subject matter experts to represent themselves here today. In the event we have questions that come up about where revenue goes to certain entities and how it is being spent by those entities. If there is a question we can't answer today, then we will certainly get back to you as quickly as possible with your issue, concern, or question, and make sure that you get the answer that you are looking for. Last, I would remind everyone that this is a discussion on the restaurant tax and the ordinance. And I would ask that we keep our conversations on this ordinance and about this potential change in the tax and anything else that needs to be addressed. I'm happy to sit down with you afterwards and have a discussion about that, or you can attend a public meeting and we're happy to discuss it there. So, with that being said, I'd like to begin with Phil. You want to introduce yourself?
Phil Gross, Durham County Parks and Rec.
Ken Darnell, will you please introduce yourself and who you're here to represent today?
Ken Darnell with the Montgomery County Historical Society, and Lisa Berry Frazier, our president and the vice president.
Okay. Ken, I would, since you're here representing the Historical Society, if you would like to come around and sit up top, I would ask you to do so because we have microphones up here and it'll record your answers so that folks that are watching online will be able to, yes, hear you just a bit better when you speak. Tracy, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Tracy Pierce, I'm a tourist.
Tracy, I'd ask the same if you can come around.
Not my favorite thing.
Is there anyone else here? Joanne, is Ken going to do the speaking for the Historical Society?
I did not realize he was going to. I'm
Okay.
Joanna Borski. I'm the director of the Montgomery County History Museum.
Okay, if you'd like to come up also, that way if you have to answer a question, the microphones can pick that up. All right, Robin, let's kick it off. We'll go ahead and let you begin the introductions.
Robin, I represent Dairy Queen.
Thank you, Robin. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Just a citizen.
Okay.
Henry Wigington, I'm interested in it. I was on the original Recreation Commission that implemented the tax to start with. And matter of fact, I think my vote, I was the one that made the request for the tax to be implemented to start with, either a first or a second. I'm not sure which, but very interested in this situation here.
Okay, thank you, Henry. Glad to have you here. Adam?
Adam Sparks, live in Jeffersonville, just a concerned citizen about the tax.
Yes, sir.
Shannon Denniston, I'm just a concerned citizen about the tax.
Okay, thank you. Joey?
Joey Campbell, live on Fog Pike, concerned citizens.
Okay.
Robin Meyer, just,
Concerned citizen.
yes, that's the one.
Welcome, Robin.
Elizabeth Denston, basically ditto.
Welcome.
Danny Blyman, this is concerned citizen.
Okay, Danny, welcome.
Sam Watkins, member of the community.
Welcome, Sam.
Bob Cummings, resident.
Welcome, Bob. And then I believe that's everyone. Aaron Noel, Chief of Police. Tom Marshall with the Mount Sterling Advocate. Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the floor. If anybody has any questions or comments they wish to make. Sam, I saw your hand first. We'll let you begin.
At the very first meeting I attended regarding the restaurant tax, I'd asked a question about what other revenue streams the Parks and Recs has coming in to operate its budget on. I was promised I would get that, but I have never seen that information. Do we have that today?
Are you able to produce something?
The only thing we have is just, what income we have is the restaurant tax itself. It's what we have. We know we do baseball tournaments, but they make a little bit of money that just really cover the cost of concession stand food. As you know, food's going up, as well as the kids who are employed there to work the parks as well. But I can get some of that for you. That's not a problem. Any meeting you want to come to, we'll supply all that for you.
Can Sam get a copy of the budget? I mean,
Yeah, just
allow
come to the
Sam
office
to have a
or-
copy
yeah.
of the budget
Yeah,
that
that's not a
shows
problem.
what
I was at
anticipated
that first
revenues
meeting.
are?
Yeah.
Can you just put it on the
Okay.
website so we all can have it, please?
So, yes, I'm sorry, Sam, you were not at the first meeting.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so we failed you. We need to do better.
Sam, I can get that for you.
We'll get you a copy of the budget,
Yeah.
and this man right here will set up a meeting with you to go over that budget in its entirety if you have any questions about revenue streams that are coming in. So he had mentioned the restaurant tax. There are certain gate fees that are paid, rental fees that are paid.
Actually, we don't take a gate fee. Only we have
What,
is just
pool?
a rental fee. The pool, yes, but the
Yeah.
pool operates. Obviously, you know, we have a $2 million debt on the pool. On that, and I'd be more than glad to talk to you about that.
On the tournaments, there is a charge to get in. My understanding is.
We do not receive a gate fee, so when
Yes.
people comes in,
But you-
obviously your grandson played. Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you lease the fields out.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So there should be some income.
There's income from that as well as concession. Yes, that's where we get our money from.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'd be interested in knowing that, and I realize there's a lot of need at the Parks and Rec as other entities as that money support. But it also kind of seems like to me that this is a Christmas wish list, which we all know, what we wish for and what we actually need. There's going to be quite a distance apart, so, I think we need to whittle down that list of things we actually need right now and make sure that we are efficiently operating that organization in order to get the most out of them. Now, is it my understanding you're new to?
Yes, sir, I am.
this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I've heard great things about you, so I'm hoping that it kind of has a change of direction in the way it's operated.
That's the game plan. Our signups to sports programs already way up already. We lower costs. As you know, we did not have sports programming in years past until this past year. We did have soccer, and that was it. We didn't have basketball, baseball. We've got other sports coming. So yes, those things are coming up and back.
And I'm a big supporter of sports.
Yeah, I know who you are.
Yeah, and so I fully support it, but the timing I think is bad too. If you look at the average citizen, gas prices has risen 31% in the last month. So there's just a lot of extra things that are hitting our people in our community. And I know that the tournament's drawing in people once or twice a summer, that a family may come in here and eat, but it's all our citizens that live here every day that eat out at these restaurants 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm in opposition because I do think we're taxed enough right now. I really do. And I do too wish there was more city council members that was here today and have been at the past meetings just to hear some of the concern that the public has. And I will say, I do appreciate the opportunity to be able to voice their concerns and their opinions on this proposed act. So thank you.
You are welcome, Sam, and I was trying to jot down comments, and I do not have your list in front of me. I may run to my office and get it, but you are absolutely right. There's needs on that list. There's wants on that list, and it's all according to how, I guess, the opinion of the person who's reviewing that list. You know, is a new parking lot upgrade that floods a need or want? Is tennis courts are a need for those that play and that have a high school team on it. They may be a want for someone else that doesn't have any interest in tennis. So I just wanted to make that clear. Absolutely, we're not saying that list is all encompassing. This is what we have to do. It's saying there's things that need to be done, and there's things that we want to do as a community. We want to provide nice things for our people, and in this case, a lot of visitors that are using our parks too. Your concerns, I'll just want to note, I'm not here to defend council, but all of them have jobs, and that's why we've spread loaded these meetings to try to have morning, afternoon, weekend, and just try to make it so that if anybody is able to come, just like you all work hard, have jobs, so forth, and you can't attend all the forums, but certainly come when you can. But these are recorded. Council will be getting all of these comments, all these notes, and I encourage you to reach out to your council members. All their contact information's online, and they'll take all of this, and they're going to have a tough decision to make. So, but Sam, Phil's going to take care of you. He's going to set up a personal meeting to answer your questions, okay? Yes?
Well, if I may, my name's Henry Wigington. I was on.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Adam, you good? Adam's going to give you your time. I'm sorry. I just pointed. Henry, Henry, you're good. We're all neighbors here, so we'll figure it out.
All right. I go back to the original vote on the Recreation Commission when we made the decision to implement the tax to start with. It was just as unpopular back then as it is now, to say the least. Very unpopular. I've got friends today that tell me they drive to Winchester and not pay the restaurant tax. Well, one thing I can say about the restaurant tax is, and I've felt this way since day one, it's the only tax that I know of that I can choose whether I use it or not. And if my heart is not in recreation, then I choose not to do it, and that's fine. But it is that type of tax. Back in the day, I don't want to get historical on you, but back in the day, guys like me, at this time of year, was going down to Tribble Park, and we were cleaning out the refuge, the vandalism, and everything that was done in that park so we could have a decent baseball system. One of my desires when I went on the Recreation Commission was that we would have a facility that would be capable to bring people into Mount Sterling, because what we had was totally embarrassing. When my son was 13, we went to a little town called Princeton, and they took us and showed us their facilities. I remember talking to Lowell King specifically about how do we get that? What do we do? And Lowell said, we get money. Now, I don't know about today because my kids are gone, my grandkids are out, but historically, and I would recommend that you do this, historically, when you look at the budgets for the city and the counties, for surrounding counties, the amount of money that was appropriated for recreation was practically beyond any imagination that we would have here. We were so far below the other counties such as Shelbyville. When we designed this park, we went to Shelbyville and toured that park. If you ever get the chance, go look at what they do in their county. It was decided at that time that we would implement this tax. Matter of fact, it was an emergency meeting because the legislature was making a move to make it only tourism related for the bigger cities, and we sort of got ourselves grandfathered in at an earlier time. But the thing I want to impress on you as a director is, back in those days, it was very difficult to work with the county government and the city government because they didn't have the desire to make things any better. Now, I don't know the status of it today, but I would suggest that you look at the city budget and the county budget and see if there's opportunities there. The only other thing that I would wonder about from where I stand is, over the years I've sort of lost track of it, we designated the restaurant tax strictly for recreation at that point. Since that time, there's been other groups that have started receiving money from the restaurant tax, which is all in good. But my question is the same. What does the city council and what does the county government budget for these entities that's taking money away from you? That'd be my question. And I was out of town for the other three meetings. I apologize for not being there. I'm not opposed to the 3%. I think that we have facilities that are 35 years old, correct? 30 years old?
Yes, sir.
So our original budget, when we decided to do the park out there, was $6 million. Were a lot of things that were put in the architectural design at that time, and I have proof of it at home, that we've never been able to put out there. And it's strictly money. There was a facility that we built that would have been built on the park where the ladies softball field is now. That would have been a facility for the community to use, a swimming pool, weightlifting, pool, where you could shoot pool, and all those kind of things. That's never happened for money. So my opinion is this. I know for a fact that the lights were installed 30 years ago, and they're horrible in today's standards. So it just boils down to what we want to do to invite people in this community. Because years ago, we couldn't bring them here. It was too embarrassing. Now we have a park that we can be proud of, but it takes money to run it. And that's got to come from either the county or the city. And I remember one time, and I'm going to hush after this, I promise. I remember one time we needed a truck at the recreation department. Our truck was horrible. And so I volunteered to go before the city and the county to see about the opportunity to lease a truck. And you would have thought I was buying an astronaut. I mean, a space shuttle. I mean, it was just horrible at that time. I know it's different people. Some of them are still on the city council. Some of them are not. But it was difficult at that time, and there was a fear. I don't know how you feel about it, about going to the city or the county and asking them for money, but I know what it used to be. And I just wish you the best of luck with it. That's all I have.
Henry, thank you. A lot of good comments there. I'll try to answer a couple of things for you, but one, I want to say thank you for your service to the community on several different boards and so forth. And as a coach, you know, I got to grow up playing on Pribble Park. I was thankful and got to swim at this swimming pool that we have here. I'm thankful that people took a chance on us kids and tried to give us everything that they could to make this a better place to grow up. And we got by on very, very little. And I'm so appreciative of what we did have. And it's because of guys like you. Thank you. The city and county do try to provide where we can. The city government, or the county government, gave $50,000 toward the installation of lights this year. So we wish we had more money in our budgets, but we have a lot of entities that, through both of us, fiscal court and the city, that we're trying to uplift. And I have said this in previous meetings, we establish Parks and Rec, we establish tourism. We have a responsibility to try to help them where we can. So where we can, we help. And we've come to a point where we know in our budgets, we don't have the money to take on some of these projects that need to be addressed some of these issues. And that's why we're having this discussion. We're not saying this is the only answer. We're saying this is the answer that probably makes the most sense to the city as we look at it. But that's why we're having these discussions. That's why we're getting feedback, so the city council can make a good decision on how they want to moving forward. And I hope that answered your questions. Let me just tell you, because Henry, you weren't here, and I didn't want to go through the 4 pages of notes I had because several people have had to hear it so many times. But revenues this year, we anticipate through the restaurant tax, 1.15 million. The last 3 years, it was 1.15 million, 1.1 million, and 1 million. So that's what the last 3 years have looked like. Parks and Rec received last year, or what they're allotted to receive this year, $1,080,000. That's about 94% of what comes in off the restaurant tax. Tourism's 30%, that's about 2.5%. Gateway Regional Arts Center, $15,000, that's 1.25%. They have if you ask why Gateway, there is the tourism, I guess the result of tourism. The Gateway Regional Arts Center brings people in, so they receive some of those funds because they're bringing people to this community. The airport, $15,000, that's 1.25%. And then the Historical Society, the museum, it's $10,000, which is about 1%. So, and none of those other entities, to answer your question, are receiving an annual allotment from the city government. The Arts Center this past year did receive a commitment of $25,000 to help them paint their building. So if you see the work that's going on down there now, that's what they're finally getting around to. The council approved that last year. So I hope that clarifies a little bit as far as those entities, who's receiving what, and how that's divvied up with the restaurant tax. The thing that's in common with all of those, Henry, is it's related to recreation or tourism activities or services. Okay? Yes, sir. Adam, you were next. Sorry.
Adam Sports, first I'd like to thank you all for having another forum so we can get all this hashed out. The last evening meeting that I was able to attend, I set up the meeting with Phil. We had about 2.5 hour conversation. He and I align on a lot of things we agree on, things that we would like to see happen moving forward. We tossed around a few ideas, working with Jeffersonville City Government to utilize the park in Jeffersonville, not just for Mount Sterling, but for the entire county. That's something that city councils will have to get together on to discuss those. Did drive around, look at the Easy Walker Park parking lot. We all know it absolutely needs to be done. That is a necessity. The tennis courts, obviously, with the high school uses those need to be done. Those are no-brainers. However, when we look at some of the legislation that is going on in Frankfort right now with House Bill 9, an additional 4% tax on liquor sales, that's also going to hit people in the pocket. It's going to hurt our businesses. It's also going to hurt liquor stores and restaurants. An additional 1% on top of that, with those restaurants that also sell alcohol, that's going to it's going to deter a lot of people from actually going out to eat. Of course, what everybody would say, well, they just cut those out. Well, why can't our government do the same thing? We can't continue to tax people because of obviously take care of the things that need to be taken care of. But some of the things that Phil and I talked about as far as Parks and Rec goes, those things are goals to be set to achieve at a later time and work toward those. So with all that being said, Phil, thank you again for allowing that time to meet with me and discuss all those things. We go a long way back. We talked several times before, me and Will line on a whole lot of stuff. We agree on a lot of stuff. But at this point in time, I think the tax itself is ill-timed. Not saying that eventually, maybe, but right now with bills and everything coming out of Frankfurt, I don't think it's a good time. And we should be looking for other means and other methods to fund those things. And with the Tourism Commission, anyone really knows me knows I'm a huge history buff. I love history, especially financial history. I like to know how we got where we were and how we got to where we are now, and none of it's been pleasant. So obviously I wish more people took a greater interest in history. Tourism, really don't know much about tourism.
I think that's actually part of the issue.
No, to me, tourism is advertising for the community.
Pretty much, a lot of that is.
So,
Trying to make us, more interesting, more a place where people want to come and spend their money, come to a day trip, support all of our local businesses. These shops were empty, 10 years ago?
right.
We've worked really hard to try to fill those places, and we have.
And all that's appreciated.
And new hotels and all,
However, additional taxing is.
Well, we only get 30,000 out of 1.2 million, so I don't think I'm the entity that needs to be talked to.
But
I mean, at some point,
I'm
it sounds
speaking
good.
Overall, taxing at this point in time is ill-advised. We need to be looking for other methods of revenue to fund these projects that absolutely need to be done. Tennis courts, lights, and obviously the parking lot. Those absolutely need to be addressed. The walk area, the walking trail, it needs to be addressed in areas. Other places it's fine, but some areas it absolutely needs to be addressed. So with that being said, I appreciate your time. Thanks for allowing me to speak. And you have a great day.
Thank you, Adam. And the one thing you said, cooperation, I agree with you. We all need to be making sure we are doing the best we can to mutually support each other and lift each other up in this community. And City Council and the Montgomery County Fiscal Court are trying to do what we can to provide for all in this community. And as I said before, we've established this organization, so we've got to figure it out on how we properly fund them. So, okay, who's next? Anyone? Shannon?
Good afternoon. Hello, I am Shannon Denniston, and I am a concerned citizen who loves this city and county deeply. I am the fourth generation of my family to call Montgomery County home, and it holds a special part in my head and my heart. I rise today as a concerned citizen. We are faced with an issue of where government is trying to grow faster than us, the people it serves. I have personally attended all 4 of the 4 town hall meetings, and I want to commend our mayor for hosting these meetings on different days of the week and at different times of the day, as to best accommodate the maximum number of citizens interested in this discussion. I believe that everyone's had the opportunity to be here and to come and share which side of this issue that they are on. And every time I see someone trying to bash the mayor or anybody in the city about saying, well, they're holding it in the middle of the workday, like today. There's already been 3 or 4 comments I've replied to personally where they accuse you of holding it in the middle of the workday to try to censor them from being here. I took up for you. And I said, the mayor has had 4 of these meetings. Where were you at the other 3? Are you making an excuse for this one the same as you made excuses for the last 3? I think it's very important that the public do their part if they're at these events, if they're interested. And if you're not interested, if there's only 20 people or 10 people interested in an issue, then I think those 10 people should decide that issue. The people who are interested are the people who are the decision makers, or should be, in my opinion. So each and every time I read a comment from the public, I just want you to know that I'm taking up for you. You've done the right thing here. You've solicited a maximum amount of information. There's a poll that our advocate is running, and that poll, we can read the results here shortly. But I haven't looked at it today, but at the last meeting, it was about approximately almost 4 to 1 in opposition. 4 people opposed this tax increase for everyone who supported it. At the end of my presentation, I'm going to ask for your transparency by means of an answer to our community here today to a question I'm going to ask you. It's an easy question to ask, but it might be a hard one for you to answer. Unless you too believe in transparency and accountability to who voted you into office. Our Parks and our Recreation Board is a volunteer board. To the best of my knowledge, they do not receive a salary, a wage, health benefits, or a pension. They serve on our Parks and Recreation Board free of charge to our community. They don't have to serve on this board. It is concerning to me, though, however, who employs the board members. And I hope their employers are not the reason for their involvement on these boards. And I'm not just talking about the Parks and Rec Board. I'm talking about our other boards too. In years past in this town, I have personally witnessed board members placed on boards to serve their employers' private interests instead of the interests of our community. I've kept my mouth shut. I've not said a word about it. I've tried to play and get along and go along because I'm trying to build a life here in this community, and I don't want to make it any harder on my wife or my children, but those days are done. I'm not going to bite my tongue anymore. I'm not going to keep any more secrets from our community. And I regret the secrets that I have kept. I know one individual who has asked for years to be appointed to our Parks and Recreation Board to help make our Parks and Recreation the best they can be, a lot better than we find them today. That person is here today, and you might hear from him. Maybe he will speak up, maybe he won't. That's totally up to him. This person has vast experience, though, and I want you to know that he loves our parks. He loves our recreation board. He will work tirelessly for the board in the interest of our community, the best interest of our community. I ask that you please give others a chance to serve on this board. Please update the board members. Those on the board who have been there for too long, we need term limits for their positions. Term limits are good, and that's why we have them in other government departments. I've taken a term limits pledge myself for members of our Congress, for instance. Might I remind you that these are appointed positions. They're chosen by local government. These are not elected positions which are accountable to voters. So these people on these boards are accountable to the people who appoint them, not to the people who elect them because they are unelected. Where are those members today? Where is our judge executive? Where are our fiscal court members? Where are our city council members today? Where are our Montgomery County, Mount Sterling Parks and Recreation Board members? Where were they during each of the other 3 meetings that I and others in our community have attended that were held prior to this meeting? Our park system is a joint effort between our city and our county government, and if we want to see it continue, then we need all hands on deck and full participation from everyone involved. Today, I rise in strong opposition to this outrageous 50% increase on food. While it is being referred to as a restaurant tax, it is actually a prepared meal tax that affects many others in our community, including our grocery stores and gas station small business owners. They too will be required to remit this tax, and a lot of people buy their meals there just like they do from restaurants. Some of us are too busy to sit down or even go through a drive-thru. We're that busy trying to pay government the taxes we owe today. Normally, I support consumption-based taxes, but when government taxes food, one of the most basic necessities of life, I will stand up and I will say no. This is one of my core issues. This is a tax on food. It's a tax on families. It's a tax on working people. It's a tax on everyday citizens who are already struggling just to keep up. Food is not a luxury. Food is not a privilege. Food is a necessity. And it is morally wrong for government to make life harder by taxing people more just to eat. And the people have spoken. In the recent town poll published by our local newspaper, the Mount Sterling Advocate, just 22%, or 157 people in our community, supported this tax increase. But 77%, or 552 people, opposed it. For every one person who supported this tax hike, about 4 people stood against it. That is not a divided community. That is a community speaking loudly and clearly saying, do not raise this tax. Please do not do this to our community. Tighten your belts like our families and small businesses have had to do. Tighten your belts like our restaurant owners have had to do. Tighten your belts like our farmers are having to do. We, the people, are sacrificing. Small businesses are sacrificing, might even say suffocating right now due to the pressures of government. City government should sacrifice too, as well as county government also. I have said this hundreds of times over the years, and I must say it again because it's important. Government should never grow faster than the people it serves. Government should never grow faster than the people it serves. Do not balance your budget on the backs of people trying to eat. We created government to make life better, not harder. Government is to answer to us and listen to us, not the other way around. If the city cannot afford to maintain everything it has, then the answer is not to tax food more. The answer is to get serious about priorities. If we have too many parks to manage, then close one temporarily, and if we must close one, I suggest it be Botts Park. There are 8 parks in Montgomery County, 8 parks. We have 6 in the city of Mount Sterling, and we have 1 in the city of Camargo, and 1 in the city of Jeffersonville. We have 8 parks. A lot of communities do well to have a park, 1 park. I just met with the Judge Executive of Menifee County. They have 8 parks. They need a lot of help over there too. I opposed Botts Park years ago because I believed that we could not afford it then. I came to those meetings, each and every one of them, and I understand that Botts Park was given as a donation. I and others were told it would remain as a simple walking trail park. Instead, it has seen numerous improvements. So I will say again what I said then, either we have more parks than we can properly maintain, or we need to manage them better. And while all this is happening, the public is being shut out. Parks and Recreation, and even our own city, continues to keep social media comments turned off, preventing many citizens from speaking out. Not everyone can attend in person. A lot of people are intimidated to do so. I've drugged my wife to meetings, countless meetings over the past 20 years. We spent hundreds, probably thousands of days in meetings like this one. It's too much for the average person. The average person is intimidated by government today. The average person doesn't think their votes are being counted. That's why we see about 20% participation, and that's what we expect to see in our primaries. 20% of people, 1 out of 5, coming out to vote because they've given up in the process. The public has spoken. They have spoken loudly. Please represent your constituents and reject this 50% tax increase on food, and put this matter to rest today by tabling it. Or if you must persist, then place it on the ballot for voters to decide in November. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon. And I will reiterate, I've said this before, the commission members are not here. You don't see Tourism Commission members here. Gateway Regional Arts Center, the Recreation Commission, because I asked them to send a representative, if able, to answer questions about spending. They are board members, and if they're here, they're obviously advocating for it. The voice that we want to hear is from you, and that's why they're not here at these meetings. I asked them not to attend. So you want to place blame, place it on me. I asked the commission and board members not to attend. Next.